The world is an ugly place with some pretty creepy people. These are people who have committed unspeakable crimes and have gone on killing numerous people before law got the better of them. Prisons are known to be a scary place, not just for the punishment conditions in which the inmates live in, but for the inmates themselves. Here are some of the most dangerous prisoners of all time. And when I say scary, I mean scary. Watch out. The first one is, number 1, the Eyeball Man. The Eyeball Man, Jason Barnum, was sentenced to 22 years in prison for shooting an Alaska police officer. Barnum's offenses were driven by a serious heroin addiction, reports The Independent. What made him seem even more dangerous was his tattoo-filled appearance. Barnum had one of his eyeballs, yes, his eyeball, completely tattooed. Number 2, the Red Ripper. Andrei Romanovich Chikatilo was an infamous Soviet serial killer. He was nicknamed the Butcher of Rostov, the Red Ripper, and is known to have raped and mutilated over 52 innocent women. According to reports, he confessed to a mind-boggling 56 murders and was tried for 53 in 1992, and is by far one of the most notorious jail inmates of all time. Number 3, Aileen Wuornos. This woman was no less than a monster. Aileen Wuornos was involved in a cold-blooded murder for 7 men between 1989 and 1990. She would usually blame the men she dated of rape and shoot them at point-blank range. According to reports, Wuornos was convicted and sentenced to death and was executed by lethal injection. Number 4, John Wayne Gacy, a real-life Pennywise clown. You must have all heard of the 2017 Hollywood blockbuster It. The movie is actually based on John Wayne Gacy. Gacy started off performing as a clown to entertain children and raise money for charity. He named himself Pogo the Clown. But under this colorful clown avatar was a remorseless criminal. Gacy was a rapist and a torturer, and he was convicted of killing 33 teenage boys and young men between January 1972 and late 1978. He was executed with a lethal injection in the late 1994. Number 5, Rodney Alcala. Also known as the dating game killer, Alcala got a sick thrill from photographing his victims, mostly attractive young women, after murdering them and putting their corpses in distorted postures. He is said to have killed at least nearly 130 women. He was arrested and sentenced to death in 1980. Number 6, Dennis Rader, aka BTK. Dennis Rader called himself BTK, meaning bind 'em, torture 'em, kill 'em. He was one of the most diabolical serial killers in American history. With each and every victim that he tortured, he made sure to have an elaborate photography session and kept it tucked away in a secret basement. According to reports, when he launched his first vicious attack in 1974 on the Otero family, he didn't even know how to kill and literally tortured them to death. After his first stint with murder, he went on to kill nearly 10 people. BTK was eventually convicted and punished for each death in 2005, and there's a bone-chilling video where he confesses to all his gory deeds. He is now kept in solitary confinement, waiting for his death. Number 7, Mary Malone. Also known as the Typhoid Mary, she is known to have infected 51 people, and 3 of those illnesses resulted in death. While she carried an extremely contagious bacteria that caused typhoid fever, Mary continued to work as domestic worker and cooked for people, because of which many were infected. Back in the medical facilities for treating an ailment like typhoid was extremely inefficient, and she apparently knew about her illness before infecting hundreds. Malone spent the last 23 years of her life as a virtual prisoner in forced isolation. Number 8, the Notre Killers. Serial killer Mandir Singh Pandher and his domestic help Sundir Kulai were sentenced to death in connection with one of the 16 murder cases in the Notre Killings case last year. The Notre Killings came to light with the discovery of 8 skeletal remains of children from the drain of a house in Notre, Noida. There are accusations of everything from cannibalism, pedophilia, and rape to organ trafficking. Sasha Kayla Ramesh Pantakar, also known as Baby. Sasha Kayla Ramesh Pantakar is one woman who discovered the easy money that came from peddling drugs. She gave up her job of a milkmaid and blended into Mumbai's notorious drug circuit in no time. After dealing in drugs for nearly a decade, she amassed property worth over Rs 100 crore from the business. Baby Pantakar was finally arrested by the Mumbai police in 2015.